Shalom, shalom. In today's Legends from the Zohar, we'll be discussing a secret of Bilaam and one of his techniques he used to acquire power. So today's section will be in book 19, and we will be reading a section called Who Hears the Words of El. So it says, Rabbi Shimon explains the great power that Bilaam had to influence people by his speech, in which he included a good deal of truth. People thought he was the greatest prophet in the world, and in fact he was able to speak with the highest El. But it was a strange El from the other side, not the El we hear about, the higher ones who rule over the levels of defilement, to whom Bilaam was connected. When Bilaam was giving speeches about levels of defilement, people thought he was speaking about the highest sanctity. Rabbi Shimon shows how the parts of the names Balak and Bilaam were included in each other and in the name Amalek. The evil Bilaam used to praise himself in everything. With all these, he used to deceive people's minds and reached a high level with his rhetorical speeches. He used to make mountains out of molehills. Whatever he said was about these levels of filthy speech, and he spoke the truth. However, that wicked one used to speak and heap praise upon himself, disguised manner, and arrogantly speak highly until whoever listened to him would think that he had exceeded above all the prophets of the world. As it says, the saying of him who hears the words of El and knows the knowledge of the Most High, Bamidbar 24:16. Who in the world could hear such talk and imagine any other prophet in the world as trustworthy? It was indeed true, and so it was, the saying of him who hears the words of El. So it was, and knows the knowledge of the Most High. So it was. This evil man was speaking of the levels to which he was attached. Who hears the words of El? He heard matters that are of the highest level, and there is nothing else like them. So he said, Who hears the words of El? Is it not written, the El, since, as the El, his way is perfect. Tehillim 18:31. However, simply El, which is another El, as it is written, for you shall worship no other El. Shemot 34:14. Therefore, who hears the words of El is merely a minor thing, yet to whoever is unaware and does not recognize it, it seems that it is a great and high achievement. Who hears the words of El means that which is called a strange El. It is as is written, for you shall worship no other El, and knows the knowledge of the Most High. The explanation is that the highest over all the levels of defilement are the ones that steer and lead the ship of the sea and the storm winds. They are 40 minus 1. The captain of the ship, who leads them all, is the highest over all. In that highest one, this wicked one was concealed, and about him he said that he knows the knowledge of the Most High, meaning the highest level of all those who steer the ships of defilement. Who could hear his talk and would not become afraid in his mind and say there was no one like him? However, that wicked one used to acclaim himself in a vague manner and speak truthful words, except that he used to deceive the minds of the people, because he used to speak about levels of defilement, and the ones who listened thought that he was speaking about the highest sanctity. Who sees the vision of Shaddai? However, whoever hears this thinks that he actually used to see what no other visionary saw. However, the vision of Shaddai is one branch of the branches that emerges from the name Shaddai. Why is it so? Because among the wisdom of theirs, there are seen three branches corresponding to the Shin of Shaddai that corresponds to the three branches of the Shin, which are Chesed, Gavura, and Tifereth. There are seen corresponding to the two prophets, two twigs of the willows, which are Netzach and Hod, that support Tifereth, and corresponding to the 72 branches of the evil eye, which corresponds to the name of 72 of sanctity, that is, the secret of the benevolent eye, to block them. And all this exists in Hokmah of the Klippa. When Balak came, he said to himself, I will be successful against them, since Amalek attacked them with his wisdom and was successful against them. He sent to Bilaam and said to him, I have within my name the two letters of Amalek, which are Lamed Kof. And ending of the name Amalek, I have Lamed Kof, and Amalek's ending is Lamed Kof. I have the ending, and you have the beginning. Beit Lamed. Rabbi Shimon said to him, Here is how I say it. The beginning of the name Balak is Beit Lamed, and the beginning of the name of Bilaam is Beit Lamed. Hence, the beginning of Balak is with Bilaam. The ending of the name of Amalek, meaning Lamed Kof, was in Balak, and the ending of Bilaam, which is Ayin Mem, is in the beginning of Amalek. So we find that the name ending of Bilaam, which is Ayin Mem, and the name ending of Balak, which is Lamed Kof, spell Amalek. You might say that we cannot succeed against them because of the witchcraft of their master, Moses. When he extends his hand, meaning Moses stretched out his hand over the sea, Shemot 14:27, and other instances. Here, this hand exists among these chiefs, who are more powerful with witchcraft. This is what is written, divination in their hand, Bamidbar 22:7. It is not written in their hands, but rather in their hand, meaning hand against the hand of Moshe, which is how Balak sent to Bilaam. Some portion is missing here. Therefore, who sees the vision of Shaddai is as we explained. Therefore, they were punished, and they were punished above, and they were called visionaries, as is written, and light was against light, which is the branch that emerges from there. Who is that visionary? That is Uzzah and Azael, who are the falling down, but having his eyes open, by Midbar 24:4. And that is the vision of Shaddai, which he saw when falling down and with open eyes. Another portion is missing here. So we learn that Bilaam and Balak are associated by taking Beit Lamed from Balak and Beit Lamed from Bilaam. We have the word Babel, as in Babylon. And then by taking the Ayin Mem and the Lamed and the Kof, which are the remaining letters, we get Amalek, for Amalek and Babylon. And we see that this wicked one would acclaim himself in a vague manner. He would speak truthful words, but seek to exalt himself. We read, you might say that we cannot succeed against them because of the witchcraft of their master Moses. And we read, the evil Bilaam used to praise himself in everything. With all these, he used to deceive people's minds and reached a high level with his rhetorical speeches. We read he used to make mountains out of molehills. We read whatever he said was about these levels of filthy speech, and he spoke the truth. However, that wicked one used to speak and heap praise upon himself in a disguised manner and arrogantly speak highly until whoever listened to him would think that he had exceeded above all the prophets of the world. And we read, the saying of him who bears the words of El and knows the knowledge of the Most High. Who in the world could hear such talk and imagine any other prophet in the world is trustworthy? With this being said, this concludes the manipulation of Bilaam and Balak. Be wise, those who have ears to hear and eyes to see. Shalom, Laila Tov.